everybody, I'm InTheLittleWood, also known as Martin. Welcome back to the channel, and today, of course, more Pokemon Go. And before we get started with today's video, a frequently asked question that I have from everybody is what camera do I use when I'm vlogging these videos, because it tends to get past things like glare on the screen really well, and also the microphone is pretty good, but it's not good enough just yet. So I use a Canon G7X. You'll know that pretty much every single vlogger in the world has one of these, including a lot of gaming YouTubers as well. But there's one problem that I've had recently, and that is that when I'm outside and I'm vlogging and it's windy, it just goes crazy. You can't hear a single thing. So I have ordered this little doodad today. It is called a micro muff. It has a silly name, but it does a really cool job. So this has like a sticky circle on the bottom of it, and you put it over the circles, which are the microphone on the top of the camera, and it apparently acts as a windshield, so it will eliminate all of the windy noises. The microphone might sound a little bit more muffled, but ultimately you're getting a better sound. Okay, so let's rip this thing open. Let's see what we've got inside. It comes in the teeniest, tiniest box ever, and all it is, wow, that really is small, it's just a little bit of hair, a little bit of fluff, and we even got teeny tiny little instructions on how to install this thing. Here we go. Oh, you know what, this is actually made for the G7X as well. I don't know if you're going to be able to see that on the camera, but it says it's specifically for this camera, which is really cool. So at the moment I'm using a cat stand just to kind of hold this entire thing up, so I'm going to remove the strip. Let's try this one more time. There we go. Okay, cool. So on top of the camera there are 3 little circles, and then there's a gap, and then there's 1 circle either side of that as well, which are like holes in the top of the camera for where the microphone is. And I've basically placed the circle around the middle 3, but not touching either of the 2 side ones. So I have to leave this for about 30 minutes now for it to properly form and seal on top of the camera, and then I can literally throw the little muff thing on top, which is kind of velcro-y, and then we can go out for a skate and see how the wind fares. And the whole while I'm trying to film this video, I've got 2 little ninjas, one there, there's another one just there. They're my beautiful assistants. Whoa, you're so strong. But you've got a high CP, haven't you, Kiki? For anybody new to my channel, that one's Kiki. She's named after the film Kiki's Delivery Service. And this one here is Pascal. She's named after the chameleon in the movie Tangled. You're as elegant as a Persian, my child. Okay, so we're finally outdoors. I'm just going to do a little spin and see if you can hear any wind on that. Anything? No, I can even go like this. Just literally blow onto the microphone. Now we're going to throw this on and see if we can hear any kind of difference. Ready for this? So here comes the spin, and then this. Anything? I won't know the results until I see this video, so let's do like 2 clips. Let's have, yay, it works, no more wind on the microphone, or, oh, they didn't work. Now I'm going to have to find another solution. So there you go, that's the full run through of my camera and how I capture Pokemon Go for videos. The only other thing I haven't told you is what app I use on my phone to do local recordings. So as you know, I use the Samsung Galaxy S6, and I simply use a little program called AZ Screen Recorder. So when you launch it, nothing too crazy happens. You just get this little red icon on the side here, and then literally all you have to do is press on it, hit record, and it will go for 3, 2, and then 1. And then it's just instantly recording, and everything's going, everything's fine. Of course, when you want to stop the recording, you drag down, you hit stop, and if you get the premium version, which is literally about £3, it's about $5 tops, you can actually trim the video down to size if you have like extras that you don't necessarily need in there. Like if you have a few bad Pokeball throws or whatever else, you can do that, hit trim, and everything's good. And the cool thing about this app as well is you don't have to root the Android phone in order to use it. One thing it can't do though, because it's not rooted, is it can't record gameplay audio without having to record the microphone and then having your game on loudspeaker. So that's the only trade-off. And just to clear it up for everybody as well, there's been a few people asking if I record Pokemon Go on iOS because I've been using Apple earphones. I just like them. If you do need a program for that device though, I asked Ashdub and Dan TDM what they use, and apparently they use a program called Show, which is spelled S-H-O-U. I've used it previously because it also allows you to live stream to various different websites, places like Mob Crush and Twitch and stuff like that, but it also has a local record feature. And then we move on to probably the most crucial piece of kit that I use when recording Pokemon Go videos, and that is this right here, my PNY portable battery pack. Now this one is only 2,500 milliamps, I think it's pronounced, which can only charge my phone once. Now I have a brand new one which I got literally today, just ahead of filming this video. It is huge, but it's also very compact as well for how big it is. This is 20,000 milliamps. I'll put a link to this and the other one down in the description box below. This one comes from a company called Anchor instead of PNY, and I would recommend it massively. Oh man, oh freaking hell. Don't make me jump straight away. Basically, the servers have just gone live in 16 more countries, but that obviously means that Pokemon Go is down right now, probably for the rest of today. I asked on Twitter if anybody else was experiencing the same server time issues, and my timeline was just absolutely filled with yes, yes, sad faces, people in London for meetups at Hyper Japan this weekend who can't play the game. Everyone is absolutely gutted. So instead I'm going to go and run a few errands. If the Pokemon servers aren't back online by the time I get home, then I've got a couple of little bits of information that I can share with you in regards to eggs, and also how to get that one specific Eevee evolution you're after. So I've been out, I've run some errands, I've done a lot of walking, and I haven't had any progress towards my Pokemon eggs. I am absolutely gutted. It just seems strange to me that the servers couldn't support 1/5 of the player base already, so then they decided to add 26 more countries into the mix. Really weird. But anyway, that means today's video is going to segue into some information. So, one really cool thing that I've seen on the Pokemon Go subreddit in the last 24 hours is information about how to get a very specific evolution. You can actually control it now, which is so cool. So, from what I've read, it's pretty much a 100% success rate for everybody that's been giving feedback on the server. So, in the original Pokemon anime series, there were 3 brothers. They were called the Eevee brothers. That was what they were dubbed. And they each had an evolution. There was Jolteon, who belonged to Sparky. There was Vaporeon, who belonged to Rainer. And then there was Flareon, who belonged to a guy called Pyro. So it turns out that if you actually put any of those trainer names onto the Eevee and then evolve the Eevee, you will get the corresponding Pokemon. And Pascal thinks that's wonderful, don't you? Hello, you come to help with the news? And something else that's worth doing as well is changing the name of your Eevee, closing out the program, coming back in, so re-log in, to make sure that the name actually registered, because if that hasn't pinged on the server and then you evolve the Eevee, you might just get a random one. And it should be pretty unsurprising that Team Valor was one of the first teams to actually max out a gym. According to this image right here in the thread that followed it, you can apparently only get a gym to level 10 where it has 50,000 experience at its absolute max. I've also had a lot of people messaging me over the last few days asking what the white bar above a Pokemon actually means. Essentially, that white bar is for your current level, so say you're trained to level 10, you can only push your Pokemon up to a certain CP level by powering it up. So for example, at the moment I'm a level 15 I think, and I've got a Hypno which can go no higher than around about 1010. But of course if I go to level 16 I'll be able to push it up maybe 1 or 2 more power-ups. And I don't know if this is factual just yet, but apparently the more you push that bar up before you evolve a Pokemon, the greater the leap will be. So depending on whether the bar is all the way on the left or it's curved all the way over to the right because you've been training up your Pokemon really hard, it can have a minimum and a maximum multiplier for just how much it can level. And what's really cool about this is from the Pokemon Go subreddit, there is this huge spreadsheet which has been a massive community project, basically to give you an idea of what the minimum and the maximum is for each Pokemon. So this here is a tentative list as of the 16th of June 2016 during that snapshot of time. Things like a Dragonair would multiply its CP by 2.12, Caterpie would get 1.08, a Geodude would be 1.7, and a Goldeen has an average of 2.18. That means if you were to evolve it from say 200, it would have more than 400, nearing 500 CP afterwards. But of course there's no 100% validity in that. That is just like the typical averages based on many people putting in their information into that spreadsheet. And regarding Pokemon stats as well, you might notice that in the game it always likes to tell you the height and the weight of a Pokemon, even though it seems like that information wouldn't be particularly important. But it turns out that depending on the weight of the Pokemon decides whether it has more HP or if it has more combat power. So think of it this way, if you have a Pokemon that's a lot bigger, a lot sturdier, it's bound to be more tanky, so it's going to have more HP. And if you have a Pokemon that is smaller and more nimble and agile, then it's going to be able to move quicker and attack faster. It's going to have higher combat points. So to recap, big Pokemon, big HP, small Pokemon, big CP. Another little tidbit that I actually never made a separate video on because I thought it was too short and too pointless to do so, and it seems like everybody already knew anyway, but if you walk away from the 3 starter Pokemon at the beginning of the game when Professor Willow's trying to give you one, so that's the Bulbasaur, the Charmander and the Squirtle, then after a while a Pikachu will actually appear, and of course it will be a guaranteed catch. So now let's move on to the map of Pokemon, the world of Pokemon. Where are all the Pokestops? Where are all the gyms? Where's all that good stuff? The items, the XP, the glory? And the answer to that question is it's right here. Now this might look completely ridiculous and scary and overwhelming, but trust me, it's easy. So this website right here is ingress.com/intel. So this is essentially a desktop version of the world map, and by that I mean the world map. And this allows you to see every single Pokestop that's available, because Ingress is the original game and Pokemon Go is simply a reskinned version of that game. It was a Google startup company. That seems to be a fact that a lot of people don't seem to know, but there was already a pre-existing game, which means this is still just as useful. So if you're really looking to maximize your experience with Pokemon Go by collecting the most Pokestops on the way into work or when you're going out somewhere, you can actually plan your route based on all of these little dots, and every single one of them you can click on, you can see the name of the stop, and it will be the same in Pokemon Go, and you can basically plan your route, and this will be a really good way to get that XP farmed. And there we go then, that brings us to the very end of today's video. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. The final fact, the final thing that I want to leave you with is simply that Kakuna Ratata, what a wonderful phrase, is the most overused joke in my comment section. Please stop, please. So have an awesome day, everybody. Thank you so much for watching again. In the comment section below, let me know two things. Are there any tips that I haven't covered yet on this channel? And the second thing is, what is your proudest Pokemon catch in recent days? Mine would have to be the level 585 Growl if I got on the way home the other day. So happy catching, happy training, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.